hi, hello, and howdy. I'm Mushmellow, and this is my co-host,
Kristyn!
and we're here to spill the tea with you. It's that time again where we come and hang out and work on our whips and spill the tea with you guys. We are semi-live and always real.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And if you are watching this during the premiere, there is a live chat feature. I don't know how to access it off the top of my head, but I think you just either turn your phone or your tablet, or there should be a button that says live chat, right?
There's like that comment section where you would leave a comment. You can push on that and slide it to the left, and it'll flick it and turn it into live chat instead.
Okay, well, there you go.
Then you can talk to us. So, yay!
Yay!
I'll pin a comment. Oh, I hope I remember to. I intend to pin a comment to the live stream to instruct those who may need a little additional assistance on how to access the live chat during the premiere. But the live chat is only available if you're watching live during the premiere.
And then you can go back and watch the live chat with the video, I think, a day afterwards as well. You can see the live chat as the video is going on as well.
Yes, the same sliding thing. You can slide it from comments over to live chat and be able to see what people were saying. But if you try to live chat in the replay, it'll pop up in the comments section as a comment. All right, so you guys, with that little tidbit out of the way to help our friends access the content how they'd like, let's go ahead and just kind of dive in for today. Today, we're going to kind of freeball. We're just going to talk about whatever comes out of our mouths. But first, I think we should, probably pretty important, talk about our tools of the trade. So today I'm working with, I'm kind of just working with a generic Temu pen because I have a bunch of different pens. I have some Flower Designs pens. I have Zap Designs pens from Facebook, and then some generic Temu pens because I'm working with different application mediums testing. And I've got Bee's Crafty Corner release papers in our Spillin' the Tea little I want to say formula, but that's not it. Not a format, not a formula. It is a pattern. Yes, pattern. Also, primarily, we'll be using this. Pardon its appearance. Like I said, I've been testing, so I'm breaking this stuff apart. I'm breaking it down. I'm beating it up. I'm doing all the things. But this is a Reed's Diamond Art Putty Nugget. I call it a honk because it's like a honky chunky hunk. And I got a Flower Designs tray here, and I got the coolest, most important, I do have a cup of tea, but guys, look, I have a Grim Steeper. It's how cute is that? This is a gift from a pair of viewers. I don't really want to, put them on blast if they don't, because I don't know if they want to be known or not. They can say who they are if they want to, but this was a very thoughtful gift for spilling the tea, and I'm using it. And I like him. He works very well. However, Sundown does not make tea very well. So there's that. Okay, that's all I got for... Oh, I'm working on a Rokari mystery kit. By the time you guys see this video, this will already be revealed. So, I feel comfortable working on it now because you have seen the end result already.
Wow. We're going into the future, and we're going back from the future.
Don't get me started on that time conundrum thing. Like, I get lost in that time loop.
I get confused enough with time zones. So no, we're not doing time travel. My brain cannot deal with that.
Yeah, I'm working on this now, but they're going to have already seen the final result by the, then by the time this comes out after that. So like, they're going to see the past and the future, but I'm working on it in the present, and we're filming in the Yeah, sorry, go. Tell them what you got.
Well, I am working on my Crafty's Pippi from Rokari as well, and I am hoping that I have finished this by the time this video comes out. This is my last section right here. It is upside down because I don't want to lean over the entire canvas to work on it. That sounds uncomfortable, and knowing my luck, I would rub the drills off of the canvas. So, no thank you. This is a pen from Jim's Handmade Pens, and I do have a 3D printed tip from Dynamite Diamond Shop. And my tray is actually from Dynamite Diamond Shop as well. This is I think the small size. I think there were only two sizes. And let's see, I have a Zap Designs pen right here that has a glue dot. This has a new type of putty that I am testing, and it is from Grayson Creations, and it is the caramel hazelnut. You get to pick your color and your scent. I Once I use this putty, I feel like it's working better for me because I feel like it's I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it's worn down a little, so it's not as sticky and tacky. Still experimenting. This is another pen from Jim's, and this one also has a super old glue dot in it. This is what I use for my ABs, and it doesn't rip the AB coating off of it. I do have my two little Care Bear cover minders right here that were a gift. This is Michael and Karen. And I also have a Dr. Pepper cover minder that was also a gift from someone as well as my Bees Crafty Corner release papers. I got Elizabeth Ward's. I got my nail saver. And
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. Don't forget I forgot the nail saver. Me too.
so I did look this up yesterday, and they were out of stock again. So if there isn't a direct link in the description box, because Mushy's in charge of that, so she's going to link everything. We will link the shop, and you can, keep trying back, because when I looked, there wasn't even a listing for it that said it was sold out, which I was like, that's not cool, because here we are promoting it and people can't even get their hands on it. So, yeah. So keep looking. Keep
Yeah,
looking.
because I know that someone was looking for it about a week or two ago, and we're like, "Hey, what is that? Where can I get it?" And I told them where, and they said, "Oh no, that's not there," and it wasn't. And then a couple days later, somebody was like, "Oh, they have them back in stock. Here's a link to them." So they're coming in and out of stock. I think it's just they're putting them up as soon as they make them, and they're super popular, so they're selling out pretty quick. Is my assumption based on the what I'm seeing and hearing.
Yes, I mean, I think, I've seen a lot of people, say, "Oh my gosh, I got one." So yeah, I think they are popular, and it's an affordable little helpful tool. And I even almost pulled a U. I walked away from my crafting area with this on my finger, and I was like, "Why am I still wearing this on my finger?" Because I know you said you fell asleep with it and you almost gouged your eye out. So yeah.
It happened last night again too. Yep, I went to bed, totally forgot to take this off. I took it off to wash my face and all that stuff, but then out of habit, I put it back on with all my other rings, which I don't have on right now because my hands are swollen. But I put it back on with all my other rings and then went to bed. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so comfortable. Oh, this nice comfy pillow. Let me just snuggle up and pull the blanket tight and then gouge." And I was like, "How? Oops."
Tell me you're a professional diamond painter without telling me you're a professional diamond painter. That is what that is right there. You are so dedicated to your craft that you are going to take your tools to bed with you just in case.
Yes, and I've bedazzled my man's nethers unintentionally, and he's had them stuck in his hip before. Luckily, I have not been the victim of my own diamonds, but oh, he has. I don't know how they find their way where they do, but it's funny when it happens.
Yeah, is he just rolling around on the floor under your desk with his, pants down, like he's like a dog scooting his butt on the floor? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know either. Sometimes I think he frames me. I think he plants them, on himself and then tries to blame me, has a reason to like frame me. Look what you did, you and your hubby.
Yeah, I just find them throughout the house because they probably land on my lap or something, and then they get stuck and then they fall off.
Stick on a sock or a slipper or something, and then you travel through, and eventually they fall off somewhere.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's super sunny and everybody's mowing, and tomorrow and Sunday it's supposed to pour down rain.
Oh,
I'm
us too.
I'm like, "All right, bring it. Bring it." That means I don't got to go outside and do yard work. So, oh darn. So sad. Cuz I was thinking I was going to have to go do yard work tomorrow. I'm like, "Oh, so bad. I guess I'll just stay inside."
Oh, shucks.
Oh no, I have to stay inside, which I never understood. People are like, "Oh, I hate staying home." I'm like, "Ugh, if I could just stay home all the time, I freaking would." But
That's see, that's me and Sundown. Like he is an out man. He gets really antsy. So winter and fall are pretty bad. He gets really grumpy, maybe even some seasonal depresso espresso. Um, he just does not like being confined inside. He wants to be out in the heat, the sun, even if it's cold, even just out in the sun, outside all the time. So he makes excuses to, like, go run errands 50 times. It doesn't matter that we're wasting gas. He'll go back and forth to town 100 times if it gets him out in the sun. Um, and, like, yesterday was our second anniversary, and, I'm sitting in here. I knew we have farm chores, like, we can't just because it's a special
special day.
occasion.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we can't not feed, just ignore all the animals and stuff like that and the, farm plots. So I knew he had a couple hours of stuff that he had to go outside and do, but then I'm thinking, "It's our special day, so then when he's done, he's gonna come and shower, and then we're gonna, like, do stuff together, and it's gonna be the greatest, romanticalist, anniversaryist ever." This man went outside, sometime in the morning, early, like, 8 or 9 a.m., and I caught glimpses of him when he came through to use the restroom. "Oh, I'm almost done, I'm almost done. I just came in to get a water, it's getting a little warm out there." And I'm sitting here like, "Okay, well, la-di-da, I'll diamond paint." 8 p.m. rolls around.
Oh my
Then he comes in and he's like, "Oh, so exhausted."
god.
But I got 76 plants, 76 plants planted in the ground, and I got one of the whole half acre plots tilled, and did all the stuff, and I was like, "Happy anniversary." And he was like, What? It's And then he looked at the time. "Oh my gosh, it's 8 o'clock." And I'm like, "Was the setting sun not a big enough imp for you, sir? It just got away from me, and then I wanted to get it done, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Fine, we're rescheduling though, so we're rescheduling." But he's like, "I figured you were gonna be in there diamond painting all day," and I'm like, "On our special day, but you
You're
wouldn't
like
know because you weren't in the house."
you're like, "Well, if you would have told me that that was what I was doing, I would have fully embraced that instead of watching the clock."
Yes, like, I was just sitting there like, "Huh," and every time he walked in, I just watch him walk by with, like, those lovelorn eyes, like, "Oh, there goes my man. Am I gonna get a kiss? Not this time. Got it. Okay. Oh, here he comes. He's gonna walk by and realize it's our anniversary, and then no, got it." I was like,
Yeah, our
"Dude."
anniversary is the day before Mother's Day. And that's also Sassy Lassie's birthday is on Mother's Day this year, so there's no anniversary plans.
Oh, yeah, well, it kinda all gets rolled into the other holidays, right? Like
Pretty much, which is fine. Uh, I'm used. It is what it is. I don't like to think that a big thing is going to happen. That way, I'm not disappointed when something, massive and exciting and fun doesn't happen, because I would have to plan the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to plan something. I that gives me anxiety. So whatever. It is what it is. It's been 22 years. Yeah. So
Phew.
so really, I'm like, whatever. The fact that we haven't killed each other is a gift to me.
No, I did get a flower from our garden this morning. So that was really nice. One of my favorite flowers. It's not like he forgot or he was intentionally. I think we had a misreading of each other. No, I think he thought because I thought, I knew he had farm chores and I had a couple hours to diamond paint. And I'm like, well, let me get as much done as it possible before we start, if we're going to watch TV together or whatever it is we're going to do or not do or whatever. Um, Before I have to put my diamond painting stuff away, let me find this freaking symbol that I literally just saw a cluster of and can't find now. Let me get some diamond painting done. And then he saw me diamond painting and, oh, she's settling into diamond paint for the day. I'm going to go do farm work. And it was just kind of a miscommunication. It wasn't like, uh, he misread the situation and I misread the situation. And together we created the perfect missed opportunity for an anniversary day. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
we rescheduled.
Obviously, these are just our thoughts and opinions, and we do encourage, you know, courteous discussion and debate as long as everybody is respectful. We do not want this to turn into a political conversation because that never ends well for anybody and people just get their feelings hurt. So while we're talking about the tariffs and stuff, we're not trying to put a political spin on it. We are trying to view it as consumers. Although I did see quite a bit of this on Facebook this week with uh I know a few people were disappointed that they were not able to get this Pippi canvas because of the whole tariff situation and Eve not being able to place her order. And I know we've talked about that too with what exactly is this whole situation going to look like for those of us that diamond paint as a hobby and also as a channel, like how do we really think this is going to affect us all?
Yeah, well, first, you lost me. What is this Facebook of which you speak?
Oh, that's right.
Secondly,
Yeah, I know. That's right. You were on a Facebook ban. How's that going for you, by the way?
eh, it's I'm getting in a lot of extra trouble because I keep sneaking, but that's okay. It's all right. Um, but no, we were talking about the whole tariff thing because was it a week or so about a week ago we started seeing some distributors posting notifications like, hey, we're not shipping to the states. And then we started seeing some shops pull out of websites like Evermoment was no longer on AliExpress for people in the US, and they were citing tariffs as the reason. We started seeing some small shops like, it's not going to affect us, business as usual. And then we see DAC put out a big statement saying, this tariff situation is going to affect us, but not in the immediate. We have warehouses with stock, and if it goes on long enough and the stock runs low, we will need to reevaluate the situation at that point and let you guys know how we're going to proceed. So we're seeing rumblings of it's impacting some shops completely. It's not apparently not affecting some shops at all. And then it's affecting even big dogs like DAC are preparing for the potential impact. And so I sort of went down a rabbit hole and
Really?
I was surprise.
Really, you pulled out the detective hat. Love to hear
Yeah.
it. Love to hear it.
Well, no, I kind of went down a rabbit hole of thought actually. Who knew I had an imagination, but I was starting to think about, and I'm seeing all this stuff pop up and I'm like, wait a second. Like if it's this serious that like announcements are being made and press statements are going out and shops are literally removing themselves from shipping to the US and things like that. First, words hard. My first thought was, okay, and then this is kind of for everybody watching too. Do you realize that most of the materials for diamond paintings, the drills, the canvases, the actual creating an image into a diamond painting either happens or comes from overseas, China specifically. Not a lot of places make diamond painting stuff stateside in terms of like on a mass level. You know what I mean? Like that could support all the shops and stuff like that. Most of what we get is imported from China for diamond painting. I got to thinking, is this going to be similar to like the Rona situation where at least in terms of, are things going to shut down? How is this going to impact diamond painting as a whole? And I went on a spiral imagining, what is it going to look like if this goes on for a week, a month, a year, 4 years, longer? You know, has anybody given that any thought? Like how impactful this would really be on our hobby? And for some people, it is a livelihood.
Not everybody who is affected is from the United States as well. And I know other companies in other countries also already have kind of different shipping things going on the United States. And so they already are paying customs and duties and fees and all sorts of other things. And I cannot speak to any of that because I don't understand how any of that works.
Well, I
But
don't know that any of us really, I'll be honest, I don't understand it all completely thoroughly either because I'm not a deep diver into the politics part. I'm not an economics major professional person. So, I mean, I get the general grasp of some things, but it's not like I'm an expert. It's like tariffs as a generality. Let's just assume we don't know why, we don't care why it exists. Here it is. And like how is that going to impact us as a hobby and as a livelihood for some people?
well, and I thought, and I could be wrong, that there were certain parts of manufacturing diamond paintings that you could not do in the United States because the hobby what did originally come from China, I believe. And I could be wrong. So they're still going to be working in China while, if the US is being affected by the tariffs and everything, and we can't get certain uh, items or canvases or diamond paintings or whatever, they're still going to be probably be made and manufactured. It's just we may not be able to get our hands on them in general, or we might not be able to get our hands on them without paying even more for them. And another thing that you brought up is that, shops are coming out and they're making statements, and then you might see a different statement from the same shop a day later. And it's got to be so frustrating for these shops because they probably don't know how to address this because they're probably getting conflicting information from this person and, this manufacturer and this company. And I also really feel for the shops because, they're kind of at the mercy of what they are being told. And, you know, I don't think they want to pass on the cost to the customers. Most shops don't want that. They don't want their customers to have to pay more. They don't want to have to pay more when we already live in a world where everything is already super expensive. The last thing they want to do is have to start charging people more for, the diamond paintings that I mean, we can joke around all we want, but diamond paintings and diamond painting accessories are not technically a necessity purchase. You know what I mean? It's not like your prescriptions, your food, your medical care. It's a hobby, and when people have to start tightening their budgets, that's going to be something that has to get cut. And that really stinks for the small businesses who are already probably struggling.
Yeah, and I think we don't know how long this will or will not go on and stuff like that. But I was just thinking, I'm thinking, okay, well, we already see some shops, small and big, that are already like preparing their consumer base. Like we have to go on hiatus for now till things get smoothed out, or we will, once stock runs out, we will be going on a break and stuff. But think about if this were, if this goes on for the next year. Do you know so many shops are going to be affected, whether it's being able to get their materials or having to raise their prices so high that, it affects their sales or whatever. I personally was not foreseeing, like, I can easily see a diamond painting world where our hobby slowly gets snuffed. The longer it goes on, I can see, where there's fewer and fewer places to get canvases, and even if we can get them becoming way too expensive to reasonably afford on a regular basis. I can see just budget. A lot of us get our budget canvases from like Temu and AliExpress, and all of those come from China and stuff like that. And like, so I could see where it's going to could become harder and harder until it almost impossible or unaffordable to get canvases for individually as individual consumers with some of these online shops or small shops who utilize any part of their production from another country that has tariffs too high for them to sustain here in the state. So I'm like a year from now. Let's just say worst case scenario, diamond painting comes to a halt. Where no canvases are coming in, hypothetically.
You're basically just trying to break everybody's heart right now. Good job.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing the mood down. Great.
Yes, but hypothetically, let's just say we're at a point where literally there's no diamond paintings or supplies or materials to do or make diamond painting supplies coming in the States. It's just not reasonably affordable and whatever. And nobody here can afford it. Nobody here can make it. We can't get it. So diamond painting like comes to a grinding halt. How long I mean, how on what I have here, the materials I have here and the canvases I have here, I think I could withstand for a while. And I want to say PS, no stash shaming anywhere on either side, whether you think somebody has too much or too little or, whatever, no stash shaming, please. I think I would be okay for a year or longer even. But I mean, think about, I know there's people that wouldn't. You know what I mean? Can you
I
imagine?
I yeah, and and I don't know what the impact on, Amazon, AliExpress, Temu, anywhere that you might get a budget friendly canvas, let's say. I don't know how those companies are going to be responding to some of this. I mean, we did see some companies on AliExpress already say they're not sending things to the US. But I don't know if all of them are going to be doing that. So in my brain, I'm kind of thinking of more generally of, let's say, the quote unquote premium companies. Just because I feel like those ones are going to be the ones that get more affected of the smaller diamond painting shops. And if they can't get canvases made, sent, sell them, how long could I last with what is in my house right now? I mean, I probably would be good for, I want to say I could probably go a year and a half. Realistically, if I figure I have, let's say, 50 decent sized canvases and I do 2 canvases a month, let's say, I would be good for a little while. I might be faster. I don't know. I might be anxiety diamond painting and staying up all night. So I might go through my canvases faster. But you're right. There are people who don't have a ginormous, closet full of diamond paintings, and that's okay. Not everybody wants to have a giant backlog of paintings because sometimes, whether it's budget or,
Space.
sometimes, Well, and sometimes you don't want to have a bunch of stuff, because then what happens if the canvas improves? Then you have a whole bunch of, older style canvases, maybe with, a bad grid, or, crappy drills or whatever. But then there are also people who have, hundreds, thousands in their stash, maybe premium, maybe, budget, maybe both. And so it's kind of hard to say. I mean, and even if somebody has a bunch of canvases, that's not to say that you're not going to not want to get new stuff. That's what we do. Part of the hobby is is collecting and spending. And another thing, let's say we can't get them. Well, what about people who have diamond paintings that they're willing to sell? I mean, is that going to be, the newest Facebook market scam? Is, hey, I got these diamond paintings. You want to meet me behind the, Les Schwab, and, make sure to bring cash? I mean,
And
because
the markup, like,
the markup.
you can't buy anywhere now. Like, hey, it's been a while. Like, everything is kind of halted or ground to a halt. You either pay this really ridiculous price that I'm asking you, or you just go without. You
Yeah.
know, we saw it during the Rona, with toilet paper and stuff. Is
Oh
it
my
going to
God.
become a if it goes on long enough, could that become a situation, for our hobby? And then I'm thinking about it, it's going to impact more than just like small shops and larger companies and the online shops. Um, After those start getting affected and people start like going through their stash and running out or running low or being uncomfortable with like
The
the
number.
inability,
Yeah.
yeah, the number of canvases they have and the inability to get more, um who who's going to, first of all, like, would you stick with the hobby? Let's say this goes on for over that year and a half estimate. You run out of canvases. There's you Well, I guess my first question before that would even be, let's say there's a couple shops. They offer canvases, maybe they're not in the style you like, or maybe they are, but they're like, "Hey, we're the only ones selling diamond paintings. You want a new diamond painting canvas? We're it." Us and like one or two other people, we're it. So, you're 30 by 40, that's gonna be $100,
Oh
please.
my gosh.
Would you buy that? Or if that was you're out, you have no more canvases, are you gonna pay that kind of exorbitant price if prices are hiked like ridiculous?
Um, for me personally, no. But I am also a serial crafter, meaning I have absolutely no problem switching hobbies at the drop of a hat. So usually a craft for me lasts maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years tops. Then I will all of a sudden get a wild hair, and I will see something and I will want to try it, and I will jump headfirst into it. So if that was the case with diamond painting, I probably would pick up one of the other gajillion crafts that I have all the supplies for in my house already.
That was gonna be my next question, is if you wouldn't be willing to pay that, would you switch crafts? Like, w could you imagine? Like,
And
and
I'm
now for
Yeah,
people watching too, I'm curious, would you switch crafts?
I mean, I think not everybody has the ability to maybe have a bunch of various crafting materials at their fingertips. For me, I've always had crafting in my blood, in my DNA, in my genes. And so, I've always wanted to try different things. And because I'm, kind of a hoarder in that sense, I keep those things. If, they're obviously, if they expire or something, then that's a little different. But, like embroidery floss, that doesn't really go bad. Watercolors, those don't go bad. And so for me, I would totally just move on to a different craft, because for me, I have to keep my hands busy, and it's something to kind of help my brain, calm down and think about other things besides, everyday stuff that might be causing me anxiety. But I know not everybody, not everybody can just jump and do a new craft. Some people, they find something and, maybe they've never crafted before and they're like, this is it. This is the thing I've been looking for. And those are the people that I worry about, because if you can't get the materials for the craft that you're doing to maybe help calm your brain, to help you after, a long stressful day, if it helps your mental health, then, yeah, I don't know how that is going to go for some people, if that is the case. But honestly, my thing is, I don't feel like this is going to be a long thing. I really don't. And I hope I'm right.
I hope you're right too, but historically, according to history, our country's first source of income were tariffs, and that went on almost 70 years before they decided to that, okay, we're stable, we're good, and we can ease up on them. So, I mean, according to like the historical record, I mean, it could go on 70 years or more. If my brain wants it to be, let's just iron this out real quick, figure it out, folks, and let's get on with life as it was. Can we, or something similar to? Yeah, I get nervous when I know, like, history tends to repeat itself, and if this is one of those cases, we could be in this for a long haul. Imagine a world where this does continue on for longer than anyone expects, hopes, or anticipates. How long could we go? And what all the areas that would be affected? Canvas shops would be affected. Content creators, YouTube. Like, if there are people that are abandoning the craft because it becomes unaffordable or unobtainable, or people just don't want to risk, like, okay, well, this it's going on so long and I don't want to, I can't, I'm gonna run out, I don't want to continue, I'm gonna switch crafts, then they're obviously gonna watch other channel genres. So this is going to affect creators in terms of, if you don't have somebody to watch what you're doing, because they don't do it anymore and they're not interested anymore, then that's going to hurt us in that way. And I'm not one of the serial crafters. I'm not independently creative. I've got some coloring books with pencils or markers or whatever. It causes me anxiety sometimes because I can't pick a color. Like, which shade of brown does this brown need to be? And I'll spend an hour trying to, like, decide between three colors, That's why
Yeah.
diamond painting's good for me. It's already decided for me.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
I think there's a lot of people who are in that same line of thinking. You hear people say, "Oh, I could just never be creative. I could never do this." And, you know, you are being creative when you're doing diamond painting. You are putting in the work. You are doing the effort. But I think people feel like, because everything is kind of predetermined for you, it's almost like putting together a puzzle.
y-
Like,
yeah.
it's all there. You're just finishing the job. It's already been started. You're just the puzzle master. You're just putting it all together.
And for me, that's exactly it. Like, it soothes my mind to have this puzzle to put together. And I think that's why I like mystery kits so much too, because it adds another layer of, like, thinking. But I think if worst case scenario did occur and diamond painting as a hobby fizzles out because of circumstance, and it just isn't something that is reasonable, or even becomes downright unattainable, undoable, um I think that, honestly, I would probably go to video gaming, because I do video game a lot,
Hmm.
um or jigsaw puzzles. That might be what I would, because I like the puzzle nature. It's soothing for me to try to figure out a puzzle.
Well, jigsaw puzzles too. You you could get jigsaw puzzles from other places. You know what I mean? Like, you can't buy a used diamond painting, really. I mean, you could buy a diamond painting someone hasn't done, but a jigsaw puzzle, somebody's done it 5 or 6 times. You could still do it. even though somebody has already done it. And that is one downfall with certain crafts, like diamond painting, like, scrapbooking or those kinds of things, is it's kind of a one-time thing. You buy it, you do it once, and it's done, and then you have to work on something new. And I wonder too, with a lot of the, and this is why I don't think the tariff thing will go on that long. And I'm not an expert by any means. I feel like, yes, it went on for however many years in the past, but we also did not rely on other countries as much as we do for our goods and our, basically our disposable society, where we don't buy something to last. We buy it, we're going to use it once, and then we're going to throw it in the trash and buy a new one. And I feel like other countries, at the same time, I don't know. In my brain, it all makes sense of, we, if it did used to do that years and years and years ago, but we did not have all the information and the connections and everything else. We didn't have, I mean, we basically had to listen to what the newspaper or the 7 p.m. news anchor told us, and that was it. And now we have so much more information at our fingertips that I think people are a lot more educated and informed about things. And so that's why I am hoping that it does not go on super, super long. I'm hoping it does the thing TikTok did, where it was everybody's like, goodbye, TikTok. My
Mm.
life is ruined without you. And then, 5 hours later, it was saved. You know what I mean? Like, oh, never mind, we fixed it. That is what I'm hoping for with this situation. Is it's a it's basically like a pissing contest where everybody's like, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, and then they come at the last minute to a deal behind the scenes. That's
Yeah.
that is my goal. I hope I'm right, just because it's not going to be good for anyone. And if the economy is already struggling, people are already struggling, this is the last thing that we need for anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope, and I hope I'm one of those plan for the worst, hope for the best. And I think that's kind of where maybe you might think that way too, but you and I are a little bit different. You're so optimistic and I'm so pessimistic. And sometimes it's interesting when we talk about things because I'm hearing your perspective and it totally makes sense and it's reasonable. I'm hoping that we can be mature adults and work this out and before anybody really gets hurt. And then I'm over here like, the world is, yeah, everybody's gonna get hurt. Diamond painting's gonna die. And it's just it's an interesting dynamic. But yeah, no, I was just thinking about it while I was sitting here. I was doing some mind numbing color blocking and my brain started wandering and I was like, what if X, Y, Z? I followed the path, of breadcrumbs of one potential thing. And I just got me thinking, and I was curious what other people thought too. Is anyone else scared seeing these shops have to
Pivot.
pivot? Yeah, either pivot or take a vacation or say we're expecting a bumpy road in the future if, are you worried about have you thought about your stash and how long you would last? Or have you thought about switching to a hobby that would not require you to obtain materials that you would be impacted by this stuff? Would you change genre of channels you were watching? Worst case scenario, this could devastate our hobby and everything you might not even think about. Small shops, canvas shops, accessory shops. If there's nobody diamond painting to buy accessories, then those shops are going to go. Eventually, we're going to start seeing it die away. I could see it fizzling away. And then content creators who either make a living or support their hobby craft situation with YouTube monetization. If nobody's doing the craft anymore because they can't and then they don't watch anymore. Basically, I was thinking, that this could be the end of diamond painting. Worst case in America, the worst case scenario, it could lead down. That is one of the possible potential paths.
Well,
And it was scary.
it, it is scary. And I have two kind of follow-up questions statements. Um, and this is for not just you, Mush Mush, but like for everyone. So let's say you can't get your hands on diamond paintings for whatever reason. Would you still watch a YouTube channel where they diamond paint and they're talking about diamond painting, even if they're just working on things from their stash? Would you feel like, even though maybe you don't get to do the hobby, that you're still kind of a part of it because you're watching someone else do it? Or would you be like, I don't want to watch this because I can't do it, and it's not relevant to me anymore? Because I know some people will watch diamond painting content and they don't diamond paint at all. They might cross stitch or they might color, but I think, and we've talked about this before, is that sometimes people aren't tuning in for what the person is working on. They're turning in for the personality. And so in some instances, I think some people, even if they weren't diamond painting, they still might watch certain contents, right? I mean, I'm sure there's people that you would watch that even if you didn't maybe diamond paint, that you might still tune in to support their channel. And then another question is that, do people feel like right now, before this all goes into play, that if there is a shop that you can shop at, are you going to panic buy? Are you going to start buying a bunch of stuff right now in the fear that you're not going to be able to get things? And do you feel comfortable shopping at a small shop? Because of certain things that we've seen in the community where small shops have, you know, struggled, poofed, whatever the case may be. Do you feel comfortable buying stuff from a small shop right now, that maybe if they can't place their order, let's say, that they will refund you? Or is that a concern? Because I know a lot of people hesitate to buy from small shops anyways, because they've seen things, or they've heard things, or whatever the case may be. I would just hate for small shops to get a bad rap for something that's not even in their control. They can't control this. But again, if a small shop is acting unethically, and well, then yeah, that is kind of in their control. So just kind of those are my ramblings of thinking of, what are we supposed to do as consumers right now? Are we supposed to be going out and panic buying to help support the shops that we like, or are we supposed to just play the wait and see game?
I'm in a holding pattern. I'm playing the wait and see game because I think we're going to get more clear information and what's going on, how it's all going to go down, what's going to go down by, I think, May 1st or May 2nd. So it's not like I'm going to be abandoning making purchases for very long. It's just
Right.
that I'm on a holding pattern. Let's see what happens when the de minimis falls off. May 2nd rolls around. I want to see what is our immediate future going to look like, and how long are there analysts or, economics people or whatever that can tell us how long they think it's going to last and how much of an impact it's going to have, and what next. That's all I need to know is what next. Like, and then I can determine whether I can start purchasing again or not. But I'm just not taking the risk right now because there's so many people that are either uneducated, because let's face it, like some small shop owners are just, they're people that love the craft, love the hobby, love the thing that they're making. They're like us, not politics majors, not economics experts. Maybe didn't even see this coming. Maybe they don't watch anything or have any idea, don't even know what's coming, if anything. You know what I mean? So I want to wait and see. Let's wait and see until things become more permanent, finalized, so a direction is chosen, a path is chosen, and it's kind of like, this is it, ironclad. This is the path that is chosen, and then I can start deciding what to do about it.
No, that makes sense, because I feel like there's a lot of, panic and fear, anxiety, and totally understand, not not trying to shade anybody for feeling any of those things,
Or create
especially
that. I'm
right.
not
And
trying.
I feel awful for these small shops who are posting, an update this day, and then a few hours later they're posting something else. And I don't think that they're trying to cause panic or fear. They don't know either. And that, I think, is what's maddening for a lot of us, is that this hasn't even gone into effect yet, and it's already changed so much. And so it's like, how do we prepare for this? I feel bad for these shops because I do not think that they are trying to make us panic buy or trying to make us scared. I'm sure they are scared, you know what, less. Because even if it is just a hobby or a side gig, we still, if we're making a certain amount of money, we kind of depend on that money. And especially these shops where this is their business, this is how they feed their family, this is how they do all the things. And yeah, I mean, I feel so bad that they are having to deal with all this, hopefully potentially unnecessary stress. Hopefully this is all a bunch of bluffing, and at the last minute it'll, get fixed or whatever. So you have not panic buyed then? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I know you've
Yeah,
been buying some accessories and stuff, but that wasn't really related to.
no, it's not related to the potential of not having access to certain things. No, it was unrelated. Unrelated. So
Yes.
no, I'm not panic buying. I'm actually kind of panic clamming up.
You're
Panic shutting
clenching.
the wallet.
You're clenching the wallet.
Yes, I have not even looked at like Temu or AliExpress. Nothing that I know generally. Now I know some of them have American warehouses or whatever. I don't care because where do you think the warehouses got the stuff that's in them?
Right.
From China. So, like, I know, I don't, I'm locking it down. I am buying, like I said, there's some things that I'm buying that I know are not gonna be affected or as affected. Yeah, until I know more. Yeah, I'm just not, I'm panic locking it down.
Well,
What
there
about
you
you?
go. Um, I am not panic buying. I did buy a canvas from Jada Gem Shop, but that was not really a panic buy, and I did choose to buy one that was in stock versus ordering, just because I know it can take a long time. And so I made sure to order it because it was in stock, which means it was already in America. So it ain't coming from overseas. And I did actually order two canvases from Diamond Art Studio because they had some new releases. But that really wasn't a panic buy either. I could have not gotten them and been totally okay with it. But I was like, oh, I like that. And I was like, well, I still have some birthday money. So, buy myself a little something, something. But other than that, I did have a moment where I was looking at other companies that have in stock canvases. Like I was looking at Oraloa, I was looking at, so gosh, where else? I can't even remember. Some other places, and I was like, nothing is really jumping out at me. And like I said, worst comes to worst, I could shop my stash. I probably should do that.
I
Use
need to
some
do that.
you you
Okay.
know, do some of the canvases that I was so excited to buy in the first place, but they get shoved off, to the back, etc., because then something new and shiny gets delivered and I want to work on that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic, and I'm saying, I don't think it's going to be this long drawn out thing. I hope I'm right, just because, I don't want anybody to have to deal with that kind of stuff. Like there's enough crap going on in our world. There's enough toxic people, there's enough toxic situations. We all have, stress and, maybe family situations. We have people who might have, medical conditions, and just there's so much going on in the world. The last thing we need to be doing is having to worry about something involved in our hobby that we do to relieve stress.
Relieve that stress, right?
I mean, and
Like, let's
we've
stress over our stress relief. Ah!
well, I mean, and we've all seen instances where there's, drama and stuff going on, and people are like, "What?" But we're supposed to be doing this for, you know, anxiety relief and stress relief. And it's like, "Yeah, I know. That's the dumb part. Why? Why are people trying to make the hobby that's supposed to be relaxing stressful? I don't understand. I don't ever choose the stressful option unless it's
Hey,
maybe like me trying to figure out, what I want for dinner if I'm going out to dinner. No.
and now we're in the territory. We're migrating into the territory of why I am grounded.
Yes, mushy's grounded, mushy's grounded. Well, it was
Yeah.
kind of I will say, your grounding was kind of a self-inflicted grounding, as well as a Mr. is a very concerned about your health and wellness grounding. It was kind of a mutual grounding.
It was something that he and my daughter had been wanting for me, and some friends, to be honest, had been wanting for me for a while. And I had a very scary
Month?
yes, I had a very scary month. And in particular, a scary medical I had a medical scare. And it's directly impacted by stress. And so when we found out that that was in fact, a thing that had occurred, and that it was potentially, and it sounds dramatic and I don't mean it to be, but it literally is life threatening. If it's not managed, it's life threatening, and could reoccur. And so when we found all this out, my family and I sat down, and they were like, we've been wanting you to take a little step away. A large source of your stress, even though it's hobby related, a large source of your stress is socials.
Yeah.
Um, I've had friends telling me for a while, this socials aspect of things stresses you out too much. You need to step back. You need to take a break. You need to take care of yourself. So, I told my family I'm there. They were like, this is what we want for you. And I'm like, I want it for me too, but I need your help. I need you guys to help me. Uh, because it's become, for a year and a half, it's become integrated into my daily life as part of a routine and part of what I do for YouTube. It's kind of like married into each
Yes.
other. And so to suddenly cold turkey rip a huge part of my day and how I view, my interaction with subscribers and stuff like that, and my community, to suddenly rip that away even temporarily, it was like a shock. It was like a dumping me in cold water, And so I knew I was going to need help, So my family's helping me be good and stay off. And I got to tell you, at first I was like panicking. I'm like worried. Oh my gosh, people are going to think that I'm quitting the channel, or they're not going to want to stay subscribed if they don't get access to, if there's no Facebook interaction, because a lot of people like the interpersonal interaction with the creator that they like and stuff. And if they see that they're not getting it, even only temporary, they're going to just say, F her, I'm not gonna watch her content. She's not available on Facebook now. Or some weird, my
Yeah.
brain. My
I
brain went
know.
weird. And but after the first like day or two, as the days have gone on, I am becoming more and more like, this is nice. This is peaceful. I'm getting so much more done. And I'm not stressing over every bing and every bong that happens on my phone. I don't mean to sound unappreciative or like I don't like interacting with people, but there were certain interactions with certain people that were literally risking like I said, sounds dramatic, but I promise you it's true. Was literally posing a potential risk to my life. And I'm not about to take a fall into a 6 foot deep pit for a hobby craft. You know what I'm saying? So um highly
Well,
recommend the socials break. I've been enjoying it.
well, and I think that also can feed into another discussion of, I mean, number one, you don't need to have a Facebook page or a Facebook group to be on YouTube. It's not like you sign a contract that says you have to do XYZ. You have to sign up for at least 3 extra socials and you have to do all this. That is something that, we take on our own because we want to see what other people are working on. We want to interact and we want to have, a community, but unfortunately when you do that as well, you want to see what everybody's doing, but then everyone wants to really show you stuff, which is great, but then sometimes you don't have the time to personally react or answer every individual message, and then you feel the guilt because somebody took their time to reach out to you and say, hey, I'm working on this, or they have a question. And I mean, and I can only speak for myself, and kind of what we've talked about is that you want to be there for people, and it's hard when you don't feel like you can be there for everyone. And it's that whole, I can't spend 90% of my day responding to comments and liking pictures, because you do have a quote life off of the internet. You have responsibilities, you have family, and it's a very fine line of how to balance mushy and, government you.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I do get, and I don't know if you feel this way too, but something tells me I already know the answer. But I feel guilt. I feel guilt if like I respond to somebody but not somebody else. If I have the time to do that, and I feel bad sometimes for even thinking like, because I know that people don't, they're not trying to add a stress or a burden. They want to make a connection, and I do too. That's why I open the thing, but it's kind of like you can't open the door a crack. I
No.
guess is what I'm saying. You can't open the door a crack. It's either flung all the way open and it all comes flooding in. Everybody, and as our channels grow, that's more and more bodies that are flooding in. That's more and more people reaching out to you every day. They join the channel, they join the Facebook group, and then it started off as a small, tight little group that was manageable where you could interact with everybody on a one-on-one and feel like you were spreading yourself equally and not hurting yourself, or your family or anything in between. But then as the size of the channel grows and more people come and more want to interact with you, that doorway's open, and it's and not only is that letting more in, more because the door's open, but it also lets the good with the bad. So
Yeah.
then you've got not just an increasing over time, an increasing volume of things that you feel responsible. There's guilt that you start feeling for not being able to split yourself 1,800 different ways. And then you feel there's the stress and anxiety of the negative that gets in, and trying to deal with that too, but also stay positive for the positive people, but defend yourself against the negative. And you can, if you shut the door, then you shut out all the good too. You shut out all the shares, all the pictures, all the funny little notes that people leave you, and comments, and on Facebook and stuff, the pictures they share. It's it's really hard to decide, and it's hard to manage as one person, and especially as the channel grows and more people, the number becomes bigger. It's really hard to decide how to handle it. fairly to everybody, and then guilt comes in, and then stress comes in, and then anxiety about the bad stuff, and it just can get overwhelming really fast, at least for me. It has, and it did, and yeah. Do you get, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, am I making any kind
Oh,
of sense?
I understand, and I think a lot of people watching probably understand as well, because I know the last, month or so, I've talked about it in my videos how, I really need to start stepping back from Facebook, just because there's a lot of amazing, good, super sweet and supportive people, but the the negative ones, or the ones that are trying to stir crap up, they bring it down for everybody. And if I can't remove myself from groups or situations that are putting that anxiety on me, that are giving me that kind of funk, then I'm going to have to remove myself completely from Facebook. And I don't want to have to do that, because I have met some amazing people. And I don't want, the turd burgers to ruin a good thing for everybody, because not everybody is involved in drama and are there to stir up trouble. We both have been trying to take more steps to keep our Facebook groups a safe place.
But
um
it's hard because it's just it's so ridiculous for a craft hobby, to even be talking about stuff like this. I don't understand why we're not all just able to kind of get along or move along. You know what I mean? Why
yeah.
there has to be any kind of turmoil anywhere. I think sometimes people get so involved in something, maybe become so passionate about something that they lose themselves. It's almost like a little bit of an alternate reality, because it isn't our real daily, it is real life. I mean, we're really crafting and we're really talking and we really make connections. But at the end of the day, what happens? We turn our devices off and we re enter our real life, the ones with bills that we have to pay, the food that we have to put on the table, the children we have to care for. That's real life. This is a virtual life. You know what I mean? And that virtual life, while it can provide different things to different people, I think a lot of people kind of confuse or start thinking that the virtual life is some kind of actual real reality. They kind of intermingle it, if that makes sense. And that's where some of the drama comes from. Because at the end of the what does it matter who said what about what? Who said who about who? In a diamond painting community. I don't want to fall into that slippery slope of confusing virtual reality with actual reality.
Well, and that's, I kind of call it like my internet life and my real life. And I don't want my internet life being Facebook, YouTube, that kind of life. Like, that's not my real life. You know what I mean? That it takes up way more time and effort and mental space than it probably should. And I hate it, because I'm like, why? I think some people see the internet drama, maybe trying to cause internet drama, or participating in whatever it is they're participating in. I almost think that maybe they see it as a, I don't know, maybe like a video game or something. It's not real to them. It's just the internet. So they can sling their hate. They can say the stuff that they're going to say. They can call you a horrible person. They can tell you that your diamond painting's ugly, and that your fingernails are ugly, and that you're a horrible, you know, baby wipe that's been used on a diarrhea baby stain of a human being. And then they can just log off of Facebook, and then they go, oh hey honey, how are you, how was your day at school? Like, they can completely change their attitude, their mindset, because it's not real to them. Because the people online that they interact with, maybe they're not thinking of them as actually being real human beings. It's just, it'd be like watching a TV show or playing a video game. At least that's kind of how I think about it. And I don't know if I think it that way to like make myself kind of feel better about the people who are out there just doing what they're doing. Like maybe they don't realize that they're hurting people's feelings. I don't know. Maybe they don't care. I don't know. But I think as human beings, not just content creators, not just YouTube people, whoever we are, I feel like if we are not comfortable in a situation or a group or, anywhere in life, we need to figure out how can I remove myself from that situation. And so I do applaud your going off the internet a little bit, and removing yourself from situations and groups that maybe were not, giving you the warm and fuzzy feels.
And it's not just like the mental part of it. It can actually lead to physically damaging, and that was what pushed me over the edge. Like, yeah, some things here or there can over the last year and a half have hurt my feelings, riled me up. I have thoughts and opinions on, and I'm human. I can get my feelings hurt. I can get embarrassed, but there it reached a point recently, and I wasn't even aware that it happened, and until I was made aware. It went beyond mental health and affected me physically. It physically affected me. And that's what I think a lot of people maybe also don't realize, or they don't care. It's beyond me how people can be so uncaring and so ruthless in their interactions with others as to not consider their actions or their words could literally hurt someone physically, even if they're not in the same space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm sure it makes sense to a lot of people. We all have our own issues, our own hangups. A lot of us do have anxiety, depression, some form of, mental illness, however you want to say it. A lot of us deal with it. It's the world we live in, and a lot of us do this hobby to escape that, to help it. We all can have different things afflicting us, but it doesn't give anybody the right to make other people feel bad about themselves, to bully them, to, you know, talk smack about them, whatever it may be. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what other people are going through. And I mean, I just think about, imagine if somebody actually did something permanent to themselves, and I'm not saying the words because I don't want to trigger anybody or I don't want to get flagged, but what if somebody did something permanently to themselves because of the way they were treated online? And what if you found out that you were part of that group? I would be absolutely devastated. And I don't know if people don't even think about those kinds of things, or they just don't care. I don't know. But it makes me really sad that we have to point these things out to our kids and go, see that? Don't do that. Don't be You need to be better than that. Because once you start acting in a certain manner, you're going to think worse things are okay, or you're going to go along with a bunch of people who maybe aren't making the best choices. I mean, just look at peer pressure. Look at all the things you probably did as a kid because other kids were doing them. Same thing, but now we have the internet, which is a bigger, broader scale, and I feel like the the repercussions are almost even bigger and potentially more dangerous.
Yeah, and that's something else we did a lot of talking about in this last month or so. It's scary to think, but I know you and I and a lot of people that we associate with. I know that it is something that we have in our heads when we are communicating publicly with like on Facebook or in our videos, we do our best to be honest and transparent and forthright, but also to be respectful. Like if there's a shop that, that I don't like their product or something, I at least try to be mindful of how I and respectful of how I say the things that I need to say and still have my opinion. If it's bad, or negative, like, I didn't really dig this product. This was not. You guys are probably going to see a little bit of that. When you find out what all I've been testing and what failed and what didn't, I have to be able to tell you guys this didn't work and why. I don't like this because why. But I'm also going to be thinking about the person who made that, who sold that, who might hear that, and make sure that I'm not just being intentionally being
A jerk.
a jerk about it, because who knows, I might say, you can get your message across without being hurtful intentionally, because you don't know. I mean, if I say something just not being respectful or mindful, and I'm a total jerk about how I say what I say, who knows, that person could hear that review and it could end in a disaster. But I think about that a lot when I make my content. Say, okay, Bee's Crafty Corner, here's my release paper. What if I didn't like this pattern very much? Or what if this particular set or whatever had, was falling apart, ripped real easy. Maybe it's real thin. Yeah, it rips real easy, not the normal quality. But I need to tell people that, like, hey, this is my opinion. This is what I've observed. Just so that you do what you want, buy it your. But what if Sabrina heard that? And
Right.
what if I had said it instead, like, this is a total piece of POS. This is a POS, this junk, whatever. Nobody buy from here. This bees, schmees. How dare she even call herself a crafty corner? Like, what a crap my butt. You know what I
Crafty
mean? And just,
corner, more like it.
yeah, bees crappy corner. What if I genuinely said that way, instead of saying, you guys, like, this is not the normal quality I see from bees, so I'm not really sure what's going on here, but this batch just wasn't the greatest for me. It's going to be a pass, but I have hopes for next time. I've had good luck in the past, but this is not the jam, guys. I'm sorry. That's a lot nicer than calling her a bee's crappy corner or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a way you can say it without being a jerk. And it could make the difference between someone, depending on the receiver's mental state. And it might not even be the actual receiver. It could be someone who's watching this occur. It could trigger
Yeah.
something in them. And
Yeah.
them think, what if people think that about me? What if they've said that about me? What if I'm part of the problem? And them go into a spiral. And I just don't see, it's such a nonsense. I don't see. And like I said, like I was saying, for me personally, it breached past like a mental emotional state and health type of thing. And it for me breached into a physical, literal episode. I've been kind of dancing around it, but I'm sure everybody knows, and I don't really want to talk a whole lot about it, but for those who don't know, I had a left parietal stroke, an actual like brain damaging stroke, as a result, in part of stress that I've been putting on myself, stress that life has been putting on me, stress that virtual online things have been putting on me, like all kind of a perfect storm were contributory, not the cause of, but contributory to me having a stroke. Um, and it's, part of what the doctors want me to do is calm it on down, simmer down. What is that old saying? Simmer down now. I can't ever say it very good, but simmer down. And it just really got me thinking, like, wow, there are some things that people say and do that it wasn't just affecting me in my heart and my soul and my mind. It was literally hurting my body.
Yeah. And that's where you have
That's
to
insane. Yeah, I
shut it down.
can't let yeah, I gotta shut it down. I can't I'm not gonna risk my life let somebody else make that, help that along. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna let somebody else impact my literal livelihood, my life like that. I can't. And so that's why I kind of took a step back. I had to take a step back. There's one stressor I could cut out of my life, even if for a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm sure your brief, you know, break or slowdown has probably showed you, maybe taught you some stuff. And I'm sure you'll go over that in a video at some point. And I think, I think it's okay to step back. And at the end of the day, we none of us can be everything to everyone. I mean, we really have to prioritize what we put in the forefront of our minds, what we prioritize with our time. And I think so many of us, and I'm grouping myself in, is sometimes we don't make the best we don't make the best choices, or we think that certain things are more important than others when really they probably aren't. And sometimes it takes big things to help us realize those, and that sometimes we can see the
Mm.
blessings that come through the troubling times. Yeah.
Well, I always try to take a silver lining from every experience, good or bad. And I always try to remind myself this too shall pass. Unfortunately, it's the same thing with the good. This too shall pass. Think about when your
Yeah.
babies were babies and you thought, "Oh my gosh, this diaper changing, screaming at all nights, feeding every 2 hours. This is this is never gonna end." But you blink and it's over and it's a memory and it's gone. And you're like and it passes. Good things pass, but it works for the bad things too. This too shall pass. Nothing can last forever. And that's been really helpful to me, my personal mantra for good things to remind me to embrace and appreciate the good things in life because that moment will pass and be a memory that eventually could fade. So, to be in the moment, live every moment, love every moment because this too shall pass. But it also helps me through the darker times to know that even though I don't see it and I don't feel it in that moment, this too shall pass. Um, this scary medical test will end. It can't last forever. This bad situation, interpersonal situation with someone, it will end someday. It can't last forever. This too shall pass has been, I don't know who else knows those words or can get benefit from those words, but throughout my entire life, those have been great words for positive and negative experiences, like a great mantra.
Well, that sounds like a great little nugget to end on. Any other final thoughts?
Um, no.
Okay. Well, hey,
I just
that's
no, I don't think I have any other final thoughts except for sundown is not allowed to make my tea next time. Thank you very much, sir.
it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts.
Well, I know you probably need to get going, but I just have a question. Do you have a mantra? Do you have like a something that you say to yourself when you're stressed or you're scared or things are really bad? Something that you can repeat to yourself, a phrase or some words or whatever that gets you through what you need to get
I
through?
I mean, I try to think back on all of the dumpster fire moments that I have survived through. Like, okay, I got through that. Kind of like when I say in my videos, like, you know, you've gotten through 100% of your worst days. So something might seem hopeless, lost, just like this is never going to get better, and it does. We all get through it. There are times when it does not feel like we're going to, like nope, this is it. This is the worst. This is the worst. But if you're still here, you did it. I mean, and I'm not going to go into like great detail life, but I mean, there have been things in my life where I'm like, people have been like, I don't even know how you did that. I don't even know how you got through that. I don't even know how you XYZ'd that. And I'm like, I don't either some days. I really don't. I mean, I feel like us going to church definitely helped a lot of things in our life, turned some stuff around. But I think just trying to focus on the positive things that you have, even though it sounds so cliche, it can make a difference. Sometimes things seem a lot worse and a lot hopeless, more, just like they're never going to get better than they are. And, eventually people move on. If you're the subject of, maybe somebody's, they're not happy with you or whatever it might be, it sucks, but you can't change how other people think, how other people act. You can only work on yourself, and just remember that you have people around you that, love you and care about you, and they probably don't care about a bunch of the little nitpicky things that we probably hyper focus on that we shouldn't be focusing on.
That's kind of, I'm sitting here, I'm taking that in. I'm absorbing that still.
Good.
That was deep. I'm just saying that was deep.
Hey, I may look like a Care Bear, but I'm deep.
I mean, I didn't realize them blonde roots. They must not be too firmly affixed in your head, because that was deep, and the blonde must not be permeating. That's good.
It's the grays that are underneath the blondes. That's what it is. It's the grays.
That was the gray wisdom speaking, huh?
I've lived a lot of things in my lifetime.
All right, well, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while we kind of just rambled our way through this episode. Let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on anything and everything if you're watching on replay. And if you're watching live, thanks for hanging out with us. We love chitter-chattering with you. And until next time, stay naughty from me, Kristen.
Big awkward hugs to everybody. You all deserve it because you're awesome. Yes, you are. You're awesome. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. So we will see you next time.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, or that. Bye.
Okay, bye. So he's like, I told him if he comes downstairs, I said, do this and go like this in front of my vision so I see you. And so he came downstairs and like flailing his arms, and I'm like, okay, great, thank you. Did you finally look at your what Mushy loves? Says Mushy loves pink.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna fix that in editing. Bye.
Whole video, practically the whole video. It's right there.
I'm so confuddled. I'm confuddled. Sundown's not allowed to make tea again. Never again, because this is lukewarm water. This is not hot tea. It's not iced tea. It's something in between tea. Would have been good iced. It would have been good hot. It's not good room temperature. Oh, yeah, it's choking me.
I can see my weight. I don't want my weight to show. Okay.
Can see your weight. Nobody's worried about how much you weigh, Kristen. Make it
there.
T-E.
T-E. T-hee-hee.
Do it again. Well, yeah, I hear that.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, but okay.
What are you? I don't even want to know what you're practicing for. But you're doing it wrong.
Yes, I would be doing it wrong. For some reason, the way I'm sitting, my chair keeps making a farting noise, and I'm like, please.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Yeah, No, I'm more of a burper than a farter.
How do you get over that hump of farting in front of your significant other and like getting comfortable doing that? Because 2 years and I still don't, can't, won't, shan't,
shan't.
shan't.
I don't know because I've always like as a kid I was a farter, so it just happens.
See, Leah and Sundown, well, this would probably be good for the tea part, but Leah and Sundown are uh no shits given. You know what I mean? So they don't care. And they'll just rip one wherever. And what? It's nature. It's nature. Can't help it. Couldn't hold it. And I'm like, I know you can hold it. We're capable of holding. I hold it all the time. Don't tell me you can't. People can't hold it. So I can't break that seal. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't break that seal even after 2 years. And they fart all over the place. Like he woke me up farting. He farted me awake. That was the trumpet fair to wake me up. So that was my alarm this morning. And he was giggling and stuff. And I'm just like, I can't. I wanna be free too. But I can't. My body just won't.
It's going to be more of a freestyle freestyle. Let's see. Don't say anything that'll piss anybody off. Well, that's hard.
Well,
How
then
do
we
we?
might as well just make a silent video.
I'm sure some people would prefer that.
We got Boogs and Loogies taken care of.
Boogs and beverages. Yep.
Yeah.
The boog and beverage.
Boog and beverage.
All right. I don't know what to do with my hands.
It's
It's fine.
not that. All right, here we go.
Okay. Okay. Go on, ma'am. Go on. It's fine. You can do it. Pretend like you know how to make a YouTube video. It's fine.
I'm trying to pull myself together. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not very helpful. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This tea is so delicious.
Wow, this is the best tea ever. Well then, okay. Well then you can. Then you can edit that part out. Hey, it's your editing. You can do whatever the heck you want. Well,
Yay.
no.
Yeah. Nope. No takesy backsies.
No, you cannot do whatever, ever you want. Like,
Oh,
kind of like a cat, with a hairball. And not everybody who is watching and is infected. Whoopsie. Duncan. Cat just knocked a pencil on the table off the floor. Have you even noticed my little sign that I put there like an hour ago?
No, because I can't see the screen
Okay. Well, you'll just have to see it when
when I edit.
when you edit
Yay!
it.
Surprise! Oh my gosh! Now all I'm imagining is seeing you chuck a blue necklace in the ocean.
No,
From Titanic.
I would never throw a necklace worth that much money into the ocean. Are you freaking kidding me? I could buy us all diamond paintings with that necklace. Absolutely not. No. Nope. Nope.
I've lived a long time. That was so long ago.
No. That woman need to be committed or thrown off the boat. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, I would have jumped right in after it. I would have been like, "Wait, I can't believe they took." I wouldn't. Who took the cameras off her long enough? A little old lady out in the cold on an icy deck. The suspicion. Gee, we couldn't find the necklace anywhere, huh? And knowing that she told this story about how it was in her pocket, and everybody was so enthralled that they didn't pay attention to the fact that it was in her. No, I caught it. I was like, "Ooh, she had that necklace."
She
I
didn't
wouldn't.
throw the real one in. She threw the Temu version
The
before the
team.
tariffs kick in.
Here, this is me helping you all pay for the tariffs. And just toss it. Oh my gosh.